Even if he sees me, he can't hug me like the old days. He and me are no longer in the same flow of time. The rat demon stood up, wiped away the trace of sadness. Under the bright red sunset, the small, tall and thin figure moved slowly as if not knowing the real destination. Looking from behind, Hiroshi thought he saw the image of the rat on the day their love broke up. He hurriedly followed and then suddenly stopped. The person who helped the rat take revenge was comforting the person he loves on his behalf. That ghost followed Kaoru into her house, and the rat listened to the teachings and reprimands. You wandered away again. You're about to grow up. Even if you don't succeed me, you still have to find your own path. I can't raise you forever. The little rat bowed her head, quietly obeyed, and then went upstairs. Her mother put away her cold stern expression and silently looked at her daughter's shadow. She sighed softly, her eyes showing sadness and worry. 10 years from the day she discovered Kaoru lying under the bridge, unconscious with a fever, the kind woman took her home to raise her and teach her all the knowledge and skills to help her adopted child become a geisha. But Kaoru did not choose that path. She also didn't talk about her aim, much less aspirations or long-term goals. Every day her son came home, and until now, the only thing she saw was pages filled with drawings of comic book characters. Occasionally, a few other characters also appear. But it seemed they cannot connect into a complete story. Kaoru only drew to review something for comfort and then fell asleep. Those days repeated. Waiting for her daughter to fall asleep, she went back into the room to peek at the drawings. The piece of paper in her hand trembled with unexpected waves of emotions. The sight of a boy stepping on an intact corpse, holding up a bloody heart made her body cold. The content of the noon news echoed in her ears. Every sentence and every word the host mentioned about the mysterious mass murder was like a picture drawn by a girl. She gently put the picture back in its original place. As soon as she turned her back, someone stopped her by asking, "Did you see it all?" The response to the doubtful question was a tolerant smile. A warm hand that smelled of expensive perfume touched Kaoru's cheek. The sweet voice full of sympathy gently quelled the anger in the heart of the person whose diary was stolen. Those pictures are just a part of your thoughts while you were negative. I can't fully understand, but I still hope you will allow me to listen and share your feeling. Sometimes I think I don't deserve to be your child. Kaoru removed her soft hand full of enchanting scent, forced a smile and bowed her head in acknowledgement. I'm dirty, uneducated, and have distorted thoughts. Suddenly being conceived by a perfect mother for 10 years, I still can't believe this is true. The fact that our meeting is the compensation of destiny. You need a family, I need a child, and we deserve to have this patchwork family after the ups and downs in life. No matter who you are, you're still my child. Kaoru burst into tears and hugged her adoptive mother. All the reasons to deny the family were swept away by tears. The middle-aged woman closed her eyelids, smiling peacefully and gently. She used lyrics and the sound of the piano to lull her foolish child to sleep. When she was sure that her daughter was really asleep, she checked around the room but didn't see anything special except pictures and old storybooks. Hiroshi watched the beautiful woman's back until she left the small room. He approached the desk, looked at the drawings but saw nothing but a mournful white color. From old storybooks, tufts of red silk stretch out. Like predatory creatures smelling the breath of their prey, they reach out, trying to touch the fox's body. As soon as he stepped back, a strong wind pushed those threads into the book. A small, snow-white hand passed through Hiroshi's body and picked up a comic book. The gentle gesture of turning the book and the loving eyes looking at the drawings made the fox feel uncomfortable. He approached again, and once again saw nothing but a blank page. No one can see their future. The dark creature spoke up and pointed at the page, questioning in an angry voice. You belong to that world. Why are you still following her? Just like you, I want to protect her. Don't be crooked. The hurricane created by anger pushed Hiroshi into a dark corner. The noise and wind ended the conversation between the souls, distracting Kaoru. The comic book was put aside, and the rat's eyes turned to where the fox was hiding. What's there? Kaoru asked softly. Just random things. People who possess special abilities are always the target of hunting by other forces. We can't stay here. Don't let that kind woman get involved. We have to go, and solve them as soon as possible. The dark creature stood near the main door, looking at Kaoru, warning. His eyes clearly showed worry and sinister intentions. The cruelty only faded when the rat approached, uttering a bitter sentence. If only life were as beautiful as the world in comics, it would be great. Mistress, I understand what you want. I've been here for too long, used her too much. So much so that I knew her lover was the father of the man who killed Heian, and knew the people who orchestrated the tragedy of my life were created by his friends. After taking revenge, I have no regrets. My dream has to end. I want to put it end by myself. Kaoru looked around the room with regretful eyes. The old comic book and unfinished painting made Kaoru's eyes filled with sadness. The rat sat at the table, continuing to perfect the final details, but his trembling hands kept creating distorted lines. The clumsy drawing was erased. Another ugly drawing was immediately replaced and then erased. The erased paper gradually thinned and then tore a small piece. The damaged painting was crumpled up and thrown into the trash. The rat exhaled. Her black eyelashes were pressed down by sadness, causing her eyeballs to be partially covered by her eyelids, and her sadness became even more obvious. The dark creature picked up the discarded item and looked at it. On the torn piece of paper is a scene of a kind woman sitting and singing, lulling the rat to sleep. In the left corner is a neat line of happy birthday wishes. But this gift will never reach the recipient. And the sender permanently left the house that had sheltered her for the past 10 years. In the middle of a cold, rainy night, Kaoru held an umbrella in one hand, and in the other held tightly the magic pen that helped her erase her adoptive mother's memories, walking quietly. The small figure lurked on the long stretch of alternating light and dark road and then disappeared as it approached a turn. The rain hasn't stopped yet, but the rat's journey has stopped at the grave of the deceased. It's been 10 years, you're the only one who misses me. The familiar voice mixed with the whistling wind did not startle Kaoru. She looked at the figure hidden in the rain, smiled happily and rushed forward. Her hands, her body both passed through Heian. The foreign friend moved closer to the grave, changed his tone to be serious and warned. Now is not the time to have fun. I just want to remind you not to come here. For any reason. Even you chased me away. I don't. Before Heian could explain, countless red ropes rose from the ground, tied Heian's entire body and tightened. Just like the dream 10 years ago, Heian's lips moved slightly, a wire cut through his mouth, tearing his foreign friend's face in half. The upper half of Heian's face caught fire as soon as it fell. An earthquake tore through the ground, swallowed Heian and the tomb. Kaoru hurriedly chased after him. An invisible external force pulled the rat back. She stumbled. The magic pen fell into the abyss and was swallowed by darkness. Heian! A sudden scream broke the nightmare. Kaoru sat up, holding her head. 10 fingers threaded through wet hair and slowly pulled out. The rat tried to calm down and then looked back at herself and the surrounding scene. She was still wearing her light blue clothes when she left her adoptive mother's house. The place she went to was apparently Heian's grave. And when she left, the rain was still very heavy. So why is she here? And was what happened really a dream? Granddaughter, are you awake? A strange voice interrupted the questions in Kaoru's mind. The person who had just arrived quickly gave Kaoru an old set of clothes and a blue towel, instructing, go inside and change quickly. If you get wet for too long, you'll catch a cold. Who brought me here? A red-haired boy. But he didn't bring you directly, he just informed me that you fainted in the cemetery. Then he disappeared. The silver-haired man explained with a confused look. I don't know how to say it. But he is different from people here. Yes. Thank you. The strange man went out. The door closed, hiding the rat's frown and skeptical eyes. Kaoru put the things the other man brought aside and looked around the room. The suitcase of clothes lay still in the corner of the room, leaning against the wet white curtain in one corner. The ceramic tile floor beneath the suitcase was covered in a puddle of standing water. Kaoru felt relieved when she understood that other than bringing her here, that stranger had done nothing to her and her luggage. You followed her for 10 years just to do this? The shadow creature questioned in a voice that was just annoyed enough to see Hiroshi about to disappear into the darkness. The fox replied without turning around. Just like you. Although our goals are a bit different. Did he use his precious time to do something stupid like that? Konami laughed, ignoring Dango's annoyed attitude. The timekeeper whispered, looking mysterious. When the time came, Heal. Regret. Hiroshi knows what he is doing. He has never sacrificed in vain. Dango smirked. As soon as he approached the door, a long cut appeared, blocking the path. The old smile still remained on the fire demon's lips. The arm covered by the sealing charm was deliberately brought closer to the space cut. Immediately, the cut disappeared. The fire demon nonchalantly took another step but did not forget to leave a message. I'm going to pick up more guests. Don't cut anywhere to scare the guests. Are you the owner of this place? A few more days. It's too late to practice mastery now. In a blink of an eye, Dango became a black figure moving quickly among the floating rocks around the flying castle and disappeared as quickly as Hiroshi's shadow in the darkness. The kind man came to visit Kaoru again with a bowl of hot porridge. He was not surprised to see that the things he had given Kaoru were still lying on the bed. With a warm and friendly tone, he tried to break down the invisible wall of defense created by Kaoru. Are you going to visit your friend? Or did you get lost here? My friend died 10 years ago. Kaoru answered softly and leaned her back against the cold wall. Please solve food and room expenses. I'll pay. This boarding house is only a shell. Ghost stories make everyone leave. I try to maintain this place and help people like you to do charity and accumulate virtue for my nephew. The strange man tried to stay calm, but the wrinkles on his face forced tears to flow. He quickly wiped his tears and admitted, my nephew's name is Heian. When he was still alive, he called me to tell me that he had found a friend. He also promised that when he had summer vacation, he and his friend would visit me. Then he approached the window, opened the curtains, and showed Kaoru the rain that was dominating the small neighborhood. Many years ago, I heard that Heian passed away, and his ashes were brought here to be buried. People said that Heian died unjustly and could not escape. I have never seen him, but rumors of ghosts scared people, and then no one rents anymore. I try to maintain this place to help special guests like you. I also didn't expect to meet you right at Heian's burial ground. Do you know who spread that rumors? Don't worry about it. The villains have punished each other. Now I just need to try a little longer to get through this difficult period. I got it. I want to be quiet. Once again the wooden door closed. Skeptical eyes scanned the room. Nothing special. The dark creature appeared right next to Kaoru, waiting and then startled, confused by the order. Help me erase his memories. Miss. You call me mistress, but why don't you submit? Half of your ability was lost in the earthquake. It still hasn't been found. The determination mixed with anger in Kaoru's eyes slowly softened. The rat sat quietly on the bed, tried to summon magic items. Only the notebook appeared. The lines of red ink on the yellowed page flickered, faded and then disappeared. It's his wish. Kaoru hesitated, then stood up and walked towards the window. The curtains opened again. The rain outside has stopped. A few drops of rain fell on the sliding glass door and then disappeared. The only thing that remained were the eyes full of sadness and resignation reflected on the glass. That wasn't a dream. He wanted me to come with him, wanted my past and my sins to disappear. He and me will meet again, we will exist on the same timeline. Nothing will separate us anymore. Kaoru. Don't believe it. Hiroshi left his hiding place and before he could finish his sentence, he was pushed against the wall by a strong wind. As soon as the fox demon stood up, his arms and legs were tightly tied and held down by red silk threads. Some memories of when Kaoru and him visited Heian's grave returned. The fox looked in shock at the backs of Kaoru and the dark creature. Obviously it's a trap. But when he realized it, his mouth was covered with red silk. Kaoru has disappeared. The spacious room was filled with only fox and extreme regret.